I never thought my life would come to this. Watching my ex-wife, the woman I once loved, marry another man and move into the house just across the street. When Laura and I divorced 2 years ago, I tried to take it as gracefully as possible. We had no kids, and we divided everything fairly. She got her family home. I moved into the cottage my grandfather left me. The cottage wasn't much, but it had one thing I loved more than anything: the garden. I'd been tending that garden for years: roses, lilies, tulips, and even some rare orchids I had spent months nurturing. It wasn't just soil and plants to me. That garden was my therapy, my safe place after a grueling divorce. But then came Ethan, Laura's new husband. At first, I ignored him. He was loud, brash, and drove a monstrous black pickup truck that seemed to scream insecurity. He strutted around as if owning the street. But ignoring him became impossible when his truck began cutting straight through my garden. The first time, I thought it was a mistake. Maybe he misjudged his driveway. But the deep tire marks across my flower beds told another story. The second time I saw him do it, he stared straight at me through the windshield, grinned, and deliberately gunned his engine, tearing up my tulips as if they were nothing. My hands clenched into fists. But I told myself, don't start a war. Don't give him the satisfaction. Instead, I fixed my garden. I replanted. I tried to move on. But it didn't stop. Week after week, Ethan's truck would roll right through the edge of my property, smashing roses, breaking small fences, and leaving dirt tracks like scars across the land I loved. One evening, I finally marched across the street to speak with Laura. She opened the door looking startled. "Daniel, what are you doing here?" I forced a calm smile. "Laura, I'm not here to fight. I just need you to talk to your husband. He's been driving through my garden. You know how much it means to me." Her expression softened for a second, but then Ethan appeared behind her. Well, he said, smirking. "The flower boy's upset." "Ethan," I said through gritted teeth, "I don't want trouble. Just stop driving through my yard." He stepped closer, towering over me. "What's the matter? Afraid your little daisies can't handle a real man's truck?" Laura tried to calm him, but Ethan leaned in, his voice low so only I could hear. "Touch me, call the cops, or complain again, and your garden won't be the only thing I destroy." The door slammed shut. For days, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying his words. Was he bluffing? Or was there something darker in his threat? I installed cameras around my property. I reinforced my fences. I even placed large stones at the corner he usually cut through. But one morning, I woke up to a nightmare. The stones had been shoved aside, my fence flattened, and half my garden shredded into mud. The orchids I had spent 3 years growing gone. And taped to my front door was a single note in Ethan's messy handwriting. "Pretty flowers. Shame if something happened to you next." My heart pounded. That wasn't just vandalism. That was a threat. I went straight to the police. They listened, looked at the footage, and nodded sympathetically. But because Ethan technically didn't step onto my property, just drove near it, they claimed it was a civil matter. Unless he hurt me directly, their hands were tied. I felt powerless. Until one night, when everything changed. It was past midnight when I heard the familiar growl of Ethan's truck. I peeked out my window, camera in hand. Sure enough, he was swerving toward my garden again. But this time, he wasn't alone. Laura was in the passenger seat, yelling at him to stop. "Ethan, don't. You've done enough." But he just laughed, revving the engine louder. Something snapped inside me. I ran outside, flashlight in hand, and shouted, "Ethan, this ends tonight." He slammed the brakes inches from me, mud splattering across my clothes. Laura screamed. He rolled down the window. "Move, flower boy, unless you want to be fertilizer." I held up my phone, showing the recording. "Smile for the camera. I've got every second." For the first time, Ethan's grin faltered. Laura's eyes widened as she turned to me. "You've been recording?" "Yes," I said firmly. "And this time, I'm pressing charges." But Ethan just sneered again. "You think the cops care? I'll be out before morning." "But you," he jabbed a finger at me. "You'll regret crossing me." He sped off, leaving Laura staring at me from the passenger seat, her face pale and frightened. The next morning, my phone rang. It was Laura. "Daniel," she whispered, voice trembling. "I need to talk to you. Alone." We met at a cafe miles away. She looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes. "I'm sorry," she said. "I didn't know how bad he was until I saw the recordings. Ethan isn't just cruel. He's dangerous." She glanced around nervously. "He's been drinking more, raging at small things. Last week he hit me." My chest tightened. "Laura." She shook her head. "Don't. I just need your help. I don't know how to get away from him." In that moment, I realized this wasn't just about flowers or property. Ethan wasn't tormenting me out of boredom. He was spiraling out of control. And Laura was trapped. I promised her I'd help. That night, I put my plan into action. I shared all the footage online. I sent copies to the police, my lawyer, and even Laura's family. The evidence spread fast. Neighbors, friends, everyone saw Ethan for who he really was. 2 days later, the police finally acted. With Laura's testimony and my recordings, Ethan was arrested on charges of harassment, vandalism, and domestic abuse. I thought it was over. But the true suspense came after. 3 weeks later, just as life was settling down, I woke one night to the sound of glass shattering. I rushed downstairs to find my front window smashed, and Ethan, standing there, his eyes wild, having broken bail. "Thought you could ruin me?" he hissed, stepping inside. "Now I'll ruin you." Before I could react, Laura appeared behind him. But she wasn't screaming. She was holding a phone, recording everything. "Ethan," she said calmly, "it's over. Everyone will see this." For the first time, Ethan looked shaken. He turned to grab her, but sirens wailed outside. Police cars flooded the street, lights flashing. Within seconds, officers stormed in and dragged him away. Laura dropped the phone, trembling. I caught her before she collapsed. Ethan was sentenced to prison for multiple charges: breaking bail, assault, and harassment. Laura filed for divorce, this time determined never to look back. As for me, I rebuilt my garden. It wasn't easy, starting over, but each flower I replanted felt like reclaiming a piece of my peace. And this time, I didn't just plant for myself. I planted for Laura too. A new beginning, rooted in resilience. Because sometimes the flowers we fight to protect aren't just in the soil. They're the people who need us most.